Hello dear viewers, hope you all are doing good. Welcome to my channel where we explore everything commerce. I, Anusha Naikwad, help you to make your concepts easier. So today we will be starting with our KCET 2024 preparations and we will be looking into first chapter, Business Environment and International Business. So firstly, to remember, the examination will be in the MCQ, that is multiple choice questions. So it's very important that we cannot miss any of the points, because if it's description, at least relatable answers, or if we don't know any concept I'm speaking of, at least relatable answers we can write and just summarize it. But when we are about MCQs, it is very important that we are sure about what the answer is. Even if we are not sure, at least if we have studied somewhere, some idea will be there. So it's very important that we understand and go through all the important points. So directly jumping into the practice MCQ questions, let us go through complete chapters and understand what is into the chapters, what are the meaning, what all are will be covered in our examination. So let's get started. Okay, so the first chapter is Business Environment and International Business. So what is business environment? First, let us break down the chapter into two parts and try to understand and learn about it. So what is business environment? Business environment are about factors, or we can say forces, that affect the business operations or its functions. Okay, the factors or forces that affect the business operations or the surroundings of business. Fine, surroundings of business which have impact on business activities. Okay, so business environment is nothing but surroundings or factors or forces which have impact on business operations or business activities or functions. This business environment is of two types. One is internal environment. Fine. Correct. Internal environment. And second is external environment. So business environment, two types, internal environment and external environment. So when we are speaking of internal environment, the environment which is within the organization, the environment which can be controlled and managed by the business. We have control and we can manage it, right? Fine, which can be controlled and managed. What is that? It can be organization structure, correct? It can be finance structure. It is the culture of our organization, correct? It can be the management or departments, anything. On these sectors or these environment, we have managed, right? We have control over. So this is an internal environment, whereas external environment is beyond our control and manage. Is beyond our control and management. Correct? Environment which is outside the organization, where there is no control and management by the business, is known as external environment. External environment is again of two types, that is micro environment and macro environment. External environment is again of two types, that is micro and macro. So micro environment is also known as task environment. I hope you're getting the flow of the information. Okay. So micro environment is nothing but task environment. task environment where the effect of these factors, the effect of these external factors have impact on only on my business. Impact has only on the my business. So these are customers, or it might be competitors, suppliers, correct? So these are our micro or task environment where the changes in these factors or forces have direct impact on my business only. Impacts on a particular business, correct? Okay. Now macro environment is when the impact on whole industry or on the whole economy. Okay, impact is on whole economy or industry. So these factors, in short, they are known as pestle factors or pestle environment. Pestle factors or pestle environment. So micro, which has impact only on my business and their customers, competitors or suppliers. Whereas macro environment has impact on whole economy or industry, and they are pestle factors. What are these pestle factors is, before we go deep into that, I hope you're getting the flow of the information. Business environment, two types, internal and external. Internal, which the business has control over and which can be managed. It can be organization structure, finances, culture, management, employees, all sort of things. So external environment, which is beyond the control of the business, and it's again of micro and macro. Micro, which is outside the business and it has impacts on particular my business only, like customers, competitors and suppliers. Whereas macro is impact on whole economy or industry, and they are pestle factors. Let us know what is this pestle factors. Let us understand the long form of the pestle factors. So these pestle, PESTEL stands for, P stands for political environment. Political environment. So political environment consists of all those things like government rules, regulation, political stability in the country, which has effect on the business. So rules, regulations, laws, and political stability. Fine. So which has impact on the business is known as political environment. Next is economic environment. Economic environment is one of the very important and detailed concept where we have to pay attention to. So economic environment is one of the vast and very much detailed concept where we have to study. So economic environment consists of, again, economic system, economic policies and economic plan. So in detail we will study about this. So economic environment consists of three important things. Economic environment is nothing but like GDP, interest rates, unemployment, inflation, all such effects which have, all such forces which have effect on the business comes under economic environment, and it has set of factors like economic system, economic policies and economic planning, which is very important from the point of view of examination. Next, S stands for social factors or social environment, let's say. So this is all about education level and age, demographics, gender, lifestyle, culture. So all that is included in our social environment. Next is technological environment. T stands for technology. Okay, technological environment. We all know every day there is day-to-day changes in our technology, and a business, once it is surviving, it has to adopt to such technologies, right? So it might be innovations, R&D, or IT developments, anything. So all such environment or factors also have effect on our business. Next, E stands for environmental factors. Environmental factors. So it can be climate change, changes due to seasonal changes, or increased demand or focus on sustainability products these days. So all such factors also have impact on our businesses. Next, L stands for legal environment. So what is legal environment? Legal environment is nothing but laws and rules that govern the businesses. It can be labor laws, corporate laws, Income Tax Act, Companies Act, Customer Protection Act. So various types of act also have impact on our business environment. So I hope this pestle is clear to you. Where we had a detailed study on what is political environment and economic environment. Consist of these three important information, which we will look into now. What is economic system, what is economic policies and economic planning, and mainly economic environment consists of like GDP, interest rates, unemployment rate, inflation rates, all sort of things. Social environment, it's all about age, education level, lifestyle, behavior. So everything wins under social environment or culture, customs. Next, technological environment is nothing but day-to-day changes in the technology which a business has to adopt, also has an impact on our businesses. Environmental changes is about climatic changes, focus towards sustainability, or managing waste, like waste management. So all such factors also have impact on our businesses. Legal environment is also about rules and laws and regulations which have impact on our business environment. Now let us in detail study about economic environment and what is economic system, economic policies and economic planning. So economic environment So we looked into economic environment, the factors like GDP, inflation, unemployment rates, demand and supply have impact on our businesses, right? So economic environment consists of all those strategies for economic development and growth, right? So the first concept that we will be looking into economic environment is economic system. Economic system. I suggest you have a pen and paper and note down the points so that it will be easy while we are preparing for MCQs or we are revising. So economic system, there are three important questions in our economic system. That is, what to produce, right? In this question, we have to find answers like what is demand in the market or how much resources are available. So demand and resources available, or what is the income pattern of the consumers and how they will buy it. What to produce. Once we get answers for what to produce, we have to decide on how to produce it. How to produce it, right? How to produce it, we can answer this question by what will be, okay, process of production. Let's write in short, process of production or cost of production. What will be the technology used, right? So first, what to produce. When we get answers for what to produce, we will decide on how to produce it. What will be the process, what will be the cost and technology used. Next, for whom to produce it? For whom to produce? So we have to make sure that everyone gets an equitable access to all the resources that is produced. That is the main motto of our economic development and growth. So equitable access, right? This is the main important questions, 3 important questions of our economic system: what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Next concept is there are 3 types of economic system. Very important, this concept. 3 types of economic system. Fine. The first one is, I hope you're getting the flow of the information. It's very important that you maintain notes. It will be very clear. Just watching, you may lose the track of information or you may get confused. Once you have a detailed writing about it, it will be very easy, because as we're writing, writing improves our recall and recognition. So I suggest you note down. It will help a lot. So 3 types of economic system. First is socialism or socialist. Okay, this was given by or proposed by Karl Marx. Very important. This again, who had proposed it? Socialism was by Karl Marx. Now, what is socialism? Socialism is when government plans and controls all the aspects of economy. So socialism is when government, there is complete intervention of government, there is complete control and management by the government. Government decides on these 3 questions: on what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, and for what cost to set. Everything is decided by government. So socialist is nothing but, you can say, state or government. It's completely on government plans and controls. This system is also known as planned economy, planned economy or command economy. Very important. Other names for the socialist economy is planned economy and command economy. First one is socialism. What is socialism? Where government has complete control on all the aspects of the economy. Second concept is capitalist economy. Capitalist economy. This economy is also known as free economy. Is also known as free economy because there is no government intervention. There is no government intervention. There is no government intervention. All the factors, or these factors like what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, is everything decided on consumer demand. Like what is the demand of the consumer, and production and pricing levels. Right here, consumers and producers drive the economy. So capitalist economy, also known as free economy, where there is no government intervention. It's all about consumers and producers drive the economy. The third is mixed economy. So as the name suggests, mixed economy is the combination of capitalist and socialist. So some factors are driven by consumers and producers with government intervention. So the combination of capitalist and socialist is known as mixed economy, and India is a mixed economy. Example for mixed economy is India. Whereas capitalist, it is US, Singapore and all sort of things. Singapore. So I hope you have got the flow of the information that there are three types of economic system: socialism, capitalist, and mixed economy. Socialism is nothing but complete control of government. Capitalist, there is no government intervention. Everything is by consumers and producers. Economy is by driven by producers and consumers. Mixed economy, it is combination of capitalist and socialist, where there private sector also exists, but there is government intervention also. The example for the mixed economy is India. We follow mixed economy. Now, first concept of our economic system comes to an end. The next concept is economic policies. Let's look into what are the different types of policies. Economic policies, the first policy we will be studying is fiscal policy. First one is fiscal policy. So this policy governs about government revenue and expenditure. Fiscal policy is about government revenue and expenditure. So what are the ways of government income and where is government expending those money? So what are the ways of revenue? Taxes, right? What we pay taxes, that is a revenue. Then it can be public debt or fiscal deficits. Correct? Where is government spending this amount? For infrastructural facilities. Correct? Transport, for roads, making of roads, hospitals, schools. Correct? All these welfare activities is where government spending, whereas revenue is all from where it is earning the income. So fiscal policy speaks about government revenue and expenditure. Next, very important concept is monetary policy. These two are very important from the point of view of examination. It is very important that we in detail understand about the concepts related to fiscal policy and monetary policy. So monetary policy governs about or manages and controls money supply in the economy. So monetary policy is nothing about money supply. Monetary policy is nothing about money supply, which governs, manages or controls about money supply in the economy. How does it do it? There are instruments of monetary policy. Okay, very important concept, instruments of monetary policy. Two types: quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative and qualitative. Instruments of monetary policy are quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative monetary policy completely focuses on the money supply. Money supply, directly it deals in the money supply of economy, whereas qualitative does not directly indulge in money supply, but concentrates on allocation of funds or credit facilities. Okay, so what are this quantitative, which are the instruments under quantitative is bank rate. Very important concept, bank rate. Next, OMO, that is open market operations. We will go in detail in these concepts. Now just let's list down the instruments. OMO, so it can be again CRR and SLR. Okay. In qualitative, it is margin requirements. And about moral suasion. Okay, next, direct action and selective credit control. Selective credit control. So, monetary policy which governs, manages, or controls money supply in the economy. How does it do it? With the instruments related to money supply, instruments of monetary policy. Again, it is quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative, it is bank rate, OMO, CRR, and SLR. We will look into the complete concepts. Again, under qualitative, it's about marginal requirements, moral suasion, and direct action, selective credit control. First, let us concentrate on qualitative qualitative instruments of money supply. Let us in detail understand about what are these concepts, because it is very important from the point of view of examination. So first, let us look into quantitative instruments of monetary policy. So what we are looking into? Quantitative instruments of So the first one is bank rate. Okay, bank rate is the rate at which RBI or central bank is our RBI, right? That is Reserve Bank of India. RBI lends short-term loans to commercial banks. So bank rate is nothing but interest rate at which RBI lends short-term loans to commercial banks. Now, if bank rate increases, commercial bank has to pay more interest rate to the RBI, right? So, money supply in the economy decreases. It's very important we know the effect of increase and decrease of bank rate. If bank rate decreases, money supply increases. Fine, this is bank rate. Next, we have to learn about repo rate. What is repo rate? It's repurchase rate. Fine. Rate at which, again, RBI lends long-term loans. When it lends short-term loans, bank rate is applied. When it lends long-term loans, repo rate to commercial banks. Again, if repo rate increases, money supply decreases. Repo rate decreases, money supply increases. So, repo rate is about long-term loans. Next, reverse repo rate. Reverse repo rate is when commercial banks deposits funds with RBI or central bank. Correct? So, reverse repo rate is commercial bank. When commercial bank deposits funds with RBI or central bank, the rate which the commercial bank earn for depositing funds with RBI is known as reserve repo rate. Next, it's about CRR. That is cash reserve ratio. As the names suggests, cash reserve ratio is the rate, or no, let's say about percentage, okay, percentage of NDTL that commercial banks must maintain with RBI or central bank in form of cash. So the percentage of NDTL. What is NDTL? Net deposits and time liabilities. Okay. So difference between all the deposits and liabilities. Such percentage of amount commercial banks has to maintain with RBI in form of cash. Okay, the current CRR rate is 4.5%. So 4.5% of NDTL commercial banks has to maintain with RBI in the form of cash. Very important. CRR is one of the very important concept. If CRR increases, money supply decreases. If CRR decreases, money supply increases. So this is very important concept, and the effect is also very important. And current, according to this, is April 2024. It's 4.5%. So the last concept is SLR, that is statutory liquidity ratio. Statutory liquidity ratio. Statutory liquidity ratio is SLR. This is the percentage of NDTL, that commercial banks has to maintain in form of liquid assets. So liquidity is set. So liquidity ratio, which means liquid assets. So the percent of NDTL that commercial banks has to maintain in the form of liquid asset. It might be cash, gold, government securities. Correct? The current SLR ratio is 18.5%. At least 18.5% of their NDTL commercial bank has to maintain in the form of liquid assets. Okay, CRR and SLR is very important concept. So last, there was one more quantitative instrument, that is OMO, right? OMO, OMO is nothing but open market operations. Open market operations. What does open market operation means? When RBI or central bank buys or sells securities in open market. When commercial banks when central bank or RBI buys or sells securities in open market, it is known as open market operations. Very important for the meaning. Okay, when government buys, money supply increases. Correct? When it sells, money supply decreases. This is about open market operations. So these are our quantitative instruments of monetary policy. First was bank rate, where the rate at which RBI lends short-term loans to commercial banks. Next, repo rate is repurchase rate, where the rate at which RBI lends long-term loans to commercial banks. Reverse repo rate is when commercial bank deposit funds with RBI. CRR is cash reserve ratio, that is at least 4.5% of NDTL that commercial bank has to maintain in the with RBI in the form of cash. And SLR is statutory liquidity ratio, that is 18.5%, 18% I guess. Yeah, as per January 2024, it's 18% of NDTL that commercial bank has to maintain in the form of liquid assets, that is cash, gold and government securities. OMO is open market operations, where central bank buys and sells securities in the open market. When it buys, money supply increases. When it sells, money supply decreases. I hope you have got the flow of the information. Quantitative instruments. Let us look into the second type, qualitative instruments of monetary policy. So qualitative again, very important concept, qualitative instruments of monetary policy. So here these does not directly indulge in money supply. It has effect on the allocation of funds or credit facilities. So here the first one is margin requirements. So margin requirements, in simple, I can just tell you that collateral value, right? So some amount of loan must be paid in the form of like down payment or collateral value. So banks just don't lend you loan, right? They take some value from you so that it's a guarantee that you pay off the loan. Then margin requirement, it's about selective credit control. Okay, selective credit control, which means credit is limited for one sector and expanded for another sector, right? This is selective credit control. Might be for agricultural activities, the credit is given more. So credit is limited for one sector and expanded for another sector is known as selective credit control. Next is credit rationing. Credit rationing, that is when bank limits the amount of credit. In case what the bank is lending in loan is less than what the borrower had quoted the amount of loan, which means when bank limits the amount of credit is known as credit rationing. Next is moral suasion. It is nothing but a pressure, a control and management that central bank has on commercial banks for maintaining all the rules and regulation, following all the rates or having restrictions on the lendings. Next is direct action. So central bank can have direct action on the commercial banks if they are not following the rules and regulations as per the RBI. So these are the qualitative instruments of monetary policy. Just to summarize, we are studying about economic policies, correct? We looked into fiscal policy and we studied about monetary policy. In that we had two instruments, qualitative and quantitative, right? Now qualitative comes to an end. Let's look into the third policy, that is foreign trade policy. I hope you are following the flow of information. We have studied about two important policies of economy. It's very important from the point of view of examination. Let's look into the third, FTP. So see, foreign trade policy, FTP. Fine. These policies have set of rules or guidelines, okay, which are established by government to control and manage international trades. Okay, the policy which manages the international trade is foreign trade policy. So foreign trade policy are the set of guidelines established by the government to manage and control the international trade. So these advantages are job creation, economic development, fine. But there are, again, increase in industry development, correct? International trade, say. Disadvantages like trade barriers. When we are exporting, we have to face heavy trade barriers, maybe taxes or quotas, any sort of things, or it might be global competition, So economy is open for global, so we have to face global competition too. So this is about foreign trade policy. Next we have about licensing policy. Licensing policy. So what is license? Taking permission for running or being engaging in specific type of business, right? Licensing is nothing but granting of permissions. So licensing policies is nothing but guidelines or about rules for granting licenses for engaging in a specific type of business. Correct? Granting licenses for individuals or businesses for engaging in specific type of business. So here economic policies come to an end. What did we study? First was fiscal policy. We looked into government spending and government revenue. Next, monetary policy, which is nothing but about managing money supply in the economy. Here we looked into the qualitative and quantitative characteristics of monetary policy. Next, we studied about foreign trade policy, and lastly, license policy. So, again, to summarize, economic environment was of economic system, which is done. Next, it was about economic policies, which is done. Lastly, it was about economic planning. Correct? Economic planning is nothing but planning about economic development and growth. Setting up strategies for growth and development. Strategies for infrastructure development, strategies for industries development. So this is it for today's video. I hope the flow of information is clear to you. If you have any queries, you can put down in the comment section. I'll try to solve your query as soon as possible. In the next video, let us try to cover more such information and let us prepare along. So don't forget to subscribe, hit like and share channel with all the KCET aspirants. See you in the next video. Happy learning.